SpaceX and Anthropic may look like completely different companies, but investors are asking the same question: which IPO could create more wealth? One company is building rockets, satellites, and space infrastructure. The other is building frontier AI systems for the enterprise economy. SpaceX has already delivered the biggest IPO in history. Anthropic is preparing to test whether AI can command the same market obsession. But the answer is not as simple as picking the cooler story. The richer investment may depend on valuation, timing, and expectations. Because in the IPO market, the best company does not always make the best stock on day one. So this video is not financial advice. It is a framework to understand how investors compare space infrastructure against AI infrastructure. Start with SpaceX. It priced its IPO at $135 per share and raised $75 billion. That valued the company around $1.77 trillion, putting it near the most valuable technology businesses in the world. The action is clear. It is launch, satellites, communications, defense. Its strongest advantage is physical infrastructure. Once rockets, satellites, and networks are built, they can become extremely hard to copy. That is why investors treat it like more than aerospace. They see it as a platform for the space economy. But there is a problem. When a company lists at a massive valuation, investors are already paying for a lot of future success. Now look at Anthropic. It has confidentially filed for an IPO after raising $65 billion in private funding. Its latest round valued it at $965 billion post-money, putting it very close to the trillion-dollar club. The big attraction is revenue speed. Anthropic says its revenue run rate has crossed $47 billion. That makes Anthropic different from many AI startups. It is not only selling excitement, it is showing serious enterprise demand. Its biggest strength is that AI can scale through software. A product can reach millions of users without launching a single rocket. But AI has its own gravity problem: compute. More users can also mean more servers, more chips, and higher operating costs. So the first comparison is simple. SpaceX is capital-heavy physical infrastructure, while Anthropic is capital-heavy digital infrastructure. SpaceX spends to build rockets and satellite networks. Anthropic spends to train models, buy compute, and serve enterprise customers. The second comparison is market size. Space touches communication, defense, logistics, and internet. AI touches almost every knowledge worker. The third comparison is speed. AI revenue can grow incredibly fast, but space infrastructure may create deeper long-term barriers. The fourth comparison is competition. Anthropic faces many AI rivals. SpaceX faces fewer direct competitors at its current scale. This is where OpenAI matters. It adds pressure to Anthropic, because investors will compare both AI stories, side by side. Now comes the real investor question. Which IPO has more upside from the price that the market is already asking people to pay? If SpaceX grows into a global space utility, its value could rise, because infrastructure companies can become deeply embedded. If Anthropic becomes the default AI layer for businesses, its value could rise because software adoption can compound quickly. But the richest outcome may not come from the company with the bigger market cap. It may come from the better entry price. For example, buying a great company at an extreme price can produce weaker returns than buying a strong company at a fair price. Retail investors love both stories because both feel like access to the future, space above Earth, and intelligence inside every device. That emotional connection is powerful, but it can be dangerous. A famous story can make investors ignore valuation discipline. History shows that IPOs can surge early, then struggle later if lockups expire, growth slows, or expectations reset. So for SpaceX, investors should watch post-IPO supply, future earnings, satellite revenue, launch margins, and capital spending. For Anthropic, investors should watch revenue quality, customer retention, compute costs, model performance, and competition with OpenAI. SpaceX's biggest risks are execution, regulation, launch failures, capital intensity, satellite competition, and whether space demand grows fast enough. Anthropic's biggest risks are compute cost, model commoditization, regulation, trust failures, and a possible AI price war. The hidden risk in both companies is the same. They are not being valued for what they are today, but for what they might become. That can create massive upside if they deliver, but painful downside if reality grows slower than investor imagination. If you want durability, SpaceX has the stronger moat, because physical infrastructure is harder to replicate. If you want faster revenue expansion, Anthropic may have the stronger setup, because software can spread through enterprises quickly. If you want less competition, SpaceX looks stronger. If you want bigger software adoption potential, Anthropic looks stronger. But if both start near trillion-dollar valuations, neither is automatically cheap, even if both are extraordinary companies. So here is the framework. SpaceX is the infrastructure moat story. Anthropic is the AI revenue speed story. SpaceX may appeal to investors who believe the next great utility will be built above Earth. Anthropic may appeal to investors who believe the next great platform will be built inside work itself. But the smarter investor will not ask, which story sounds bigger? They will ask, which expectations are easier to beat? Because in markets, wealth is not created by excitement alone. It is created when reality turns out better than the price expected. So which IPO could make investors richer? The winner may not be SpaceX or Anthropic. It may be the one priced with less perfection.